Welcome, everyone. So it's so nice that we're all gathering under the full moon or almost the full moon. This is my first time leading for a full moon meditation. Usually I'm here at the new moon, and I see this process as with every Hebrew month, it as the new moon is a time to set our intentions and to start to dabble in the energies of the month and start to learn about what we are invited into in the month. And then by the full moon, we are like saturated in its energy. We've been warmed up. We're in the practice, we're in the works. And now at the full moon, we're at its heightened energy, at its heightened state. And so today of Purim Katan, we're really at the peak of the month of joy, because Adar is this month of being able to explore joy. And especially that we have 2 months, it's really, for some, 2 months of ecstatic joy. For others, it's a slow burn. And maybe we need those extra 2 months to get there, and it's a slower process. So it's reminding me to be patient with myself as I discover those cracks of joy that the light comes in those slower moments. Um, and what I love about this invitation into joy, it says in the Gemara, when Adar comes in, we increase in joy. Marbim besimcha. Increasing in joy means joy is already our natural state. Joy is already present. What we're doing is just unearthing it and increasing our awareness of it. And let me get this straight. I'm not saying this is easy. A lot of us are in painful places in the world. A lot of us are in suffering and in pain. And it's not easy, especially right now. Yet it's still a sacred obligation. It's still a mitzvah to explore the joy and to invite it and to open up to it. And what I've been realizing the last few weeks is that joy does not mean that only good things are happening to you. It does not mean that your life is perfect and you're at a party. Does not mean you're in a fun state. But joy means that I can be present with whatever my reality is. I can choose to inhabit the moment fully with whatever life is giving us, whatever our body is showing us to be present with. To be fully in it and inhabit it is a joyous moment. And sometimes we just need to remind ourselves, this is a joyous moment. There's a Rabbi Alan Liu, who sums up this beautifully, this concept in his book, This is Real and You Are Completely Unprepared. But he speaks about joy in the most beautiful way. And I'm going to read this quote from him. When we speak of joy here, we're not speaking of fun. Joy is a deep release of the soul, and it includes death and pain. Joy is any feeling fully felt, any experience we give our whole being to. We are conditioned to choose pleasure and to reject pain, but the truth is, any moment of our life fully inhabited, any feeling fully felt, and any immersion in the full depth of life can be the source of joy. So this will be our invitation into our meditation practice, is to really be with whatever your inner world is experiencing fully and presently. One of the words for Adar comes from Adir, which means strength. And I think it shows the strength that it takes to choose joy, especially in a time of uncertainty, especially in a time of darkness and difficulty. To choose joy or to choose to look for joy is a strength. And we see that throughout the Megillah with Queen Esther in such confusing circumstances and in such darkness, and when everything's turned upside down, she chooses to step forward with her purpose, and that strength that she has of just stepping forward amidst that uncertainty is the adir, is the strength that we're drawing from. And sometimes we even experience joy deeper when we're going through suffering. If you've ever been in mourning or in grief and you see the clouds or a butterfly lands somewhere, it means so much to you. And it's so tender. And that joy is even more revealed. And so I want us to invite us to really look at joy in any form that it takes shape, whether we're dancing at a Purim party or we're crying and seeing a butterfly or our eyes are opening to the clouds above us. These are moments of joy. And if we don't have anything to make us joyous today in life, we can come back to the very, very, very simple truth that we have this body, we have this breath. This can be a joyous moment, just these simple truths. So we will begin our meditation practice. And one more word for Adar breaks up into two parts, Aleph, Dar. Aleph is oneness and divinity. This is the joy that comes in. And Dar is the dwelling, the vessel, our bodies, our hearts. So we'll do a body scan, an inner smile body scan. And imagine this Aleph is coming into our Dar, coming into our dwelling, our bodies, and filling it with divinity, with a consciousness, a kind presence, a loving presence, a joyful presence. So let's begin by closing our eyes wherever you are, if that feels safe to you. And you can bring your palms up to receive the full moon light above us. Ground the soles of the feet into the earth. Feeling supported by this community, holding witness to each other, and feeling safe with the ground holding you or the chair holding you up. And we'll bring awareness to the place between our brows, the third eye center, or in Kabbalah, the place of Da'at, higher consciousness. And we'll just inhale up here. I am aware of my third eye. And exhale, sending gratitude over the brain, over your mind, smiling energy through your brain. So with gratitude, letting that divine presence fill your mind. This mind that can choose joyful thoughts, that has vision, clarity. And imagine light opening up between the hemispheres, creating spaciousness between the two hemispheres, space between your thoughts to allow joy into your mind. And bring awareness down through the throat and landing at your heart. Inhale, I'm aware of my heart. And exhale, sending an inner smile through the gates of the heart. this smiling energy that brings gratitude to our ability to love, connect with others, hold compassion, hold pain, and feel the joy. We'll fill up your heart with this kind, compassionate, smiling energy. Let your breaths expand the heart space, creating this dar, this dwelling for lightness and laughter and alacrity to fill the whole space of the heart. And we'll bring the awareness from the heart down into the low belly. If you'd like, you can place palms at your navel center. Inhale, I'm aware of my low belly. Exhale, I send smiling energy through this center, allowing me to be present, to have deep, slow, sweet breaths. To activate this creative center. And if I have nothing else to be joyous about, I can remember that I have this body and I have this breath. And right now, this is a joyous moment. And if your hands are on your belly, let's transfer our awareness into your palms. Feel your palms reverberating wherever they lie. Inhale, I'm aware of my hands. And exhale, I smile inwardly towards these hands that can tend to myself and others, that give from a full heart. You can ponder the acts of kindness that you've done or will do this Shabbat with these hands, and let that be a source of joy. And receiving kindness, receiving acts of love from others, this can also be a source of joy. And go ahead and flip your palms down onto your legs or thighs, transferring awareness into your legs. Inhale, I'm aware of my strong legs. Exhale, I smile inwardly into my legs for the places they have taken me, for the journeys I have been on, the places that I will go. Every walk of life, every step we take with joy, holding the divine presence and choosing to step forward into this Shabbat with joy, just like Esther stepped forward in the palace. And imagine smiling energy through your legs, powerful, bright, swift. And from the legs, shift down into the soles of your feet, pressing firmly in the ground. Inhale, I'm aware of my feet. Exhale, I smile toward my feet and their ability to connect with the earth below. Their ability to hold me up. Send gratitude and joyful energy into the feet. And we'll take some big sweeping scans of the body, noticing where there's an expansion, an opening for joy. Allowing that Aleph, that divinity, that oneness, the molecules of consciousness to fill our entire body, our entire dwelling right now with joyful energy, present energy. Let our body wake up to this holiday of Purim Katan, celebrating the fact that we're here, alive, breathing. With this last minute here together, we'll allow the light of the full moon, the light of Purim Katan, to reveal the hidden joy that lies within our bodies, our hearts, our minds. That's what Megillat Esther means, revealing the hidden. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and return to the group. And let's breathe this joy forward to everyone else here, everyone else watching, and anyone else that could use the joy that we cultivate. Let's send it out to others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Friends, I encourage you to stay present for a moment as we close our practice together, offering an opportunity for those who are mourning to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. If you're not reciting Kaddish, please stay present for a minute to support those who are. You're welcome to put the name or names of those you're honoring today in the chat now, or after you recite Kaddish. And if you're doing so, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time.
Doris.
Yit Gadal, Yit Kadat,
Kadash
Amen.
Yoma Divra Yute Yamlichma Vite
Chayeton Uvyomecha,
Dash
Chaye
Meraba Ben
B'chol
Michael
Ma'el,
Chaye
Kabem
Dohora
Kabbalah,
Yisrael
Kabem
Va'adola Pisma
Kabaya
Gavita
Ishme Rabba
Ishme
Ishme Rabba
Mivorach,
Mivorach
Yitbarach,
Leonel
V'yishtabach,
Maya
V'yishtabach,
Yitbarak
Yitbarach,
Yishtabach Vidbar
Yitbarach,
Yitzhak
Yitlamed,
Vishtabach
Vid'aseh
Yitzhalal, Shemei
Yitakar
V'yikra,
Yitale
Vishtabach
Vid'ala
Me'ela, Mikol
Shemei
Birchata
Kedusha
Meila
V'Shirat,
Mikol
V'Elu
Vichata V'Shirat
Ela
B'Chata
Mikol
V'Chamet,
Birchata
Ba'amiran,
V'Shirat
Dane
Mishpachata
V'Chata
V'Netet
Dahani
Ish
Da'amiran
Lama Rabba
Bilma
Mim Shemaya,
Amen.
Chaim Aleinu
Yeshama
Shema
Rabba Mim
Namo
Shemaya
Yaseh
V'chaim
Shalom
Aleinu
V'chayim
V'al Yisrael
Yaseh Shalom Aleinu
Yaseh Shalom
Israel.
Shalom
All your
Bimholanu
Yaseh
sakes
Shalom
Shalom
Aleinu
V'al Yisrael
Kol
V'Amen.
Yisrael.
Amen.
Amen.
Friends, thanks so much for being with us. Want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a happy Purim Katan. And I didn't mention at the outset, but just a reminder, we're looking forward next week to be led all week by Rabbi Dr. Mira Neshama Weil, will be joining us from Israel. And Mira will be offering a week-long teaching on our daily sit on the Jewish mystical theme of Yerida Tzorech Aliyah, which translates to going down for the sake of coming up. It's inspired by the month of Adar and also by next week's Parsha, Parshat Ki Tisa, which is the episode of the golden calf. Certainly one of the low points in the Torah reading cycle. And really looking forward to delving into that theme with Mira next week and a full week of learning and practice with her. So we hope you'll join us for that. Many thanks today to our teacher, Jenna Zadaka of At the Well Project, for leading us so beautifully on this inaugural full moon meditation. So delighted to have you, Jenna, and to Jordan Pollock for holding our tech space with skill and grace today, as always. You're always welcome, of course, to stay on. We're going to have some conversation with Jenna about this beautiful teaching today for the next 15 minutes or so. And if you're leaving us now, I just want to wish you a sweet and restorative Shabbat, and may the joy, as Jenna framed it for us today, that joy of simply being aware of what is true, what is present, of the next breath, of simply being alive as a source of simcha, of joy in the month of Adar. May it be with you throughout Shabbat and over the weekend, and we hope to see you back on Monday at our usual time. So Jenna, you're gonna come bring you back in. I just need you to unmute if you can. Can you? Yeah, great. We're gonna keep an eye on questions in the chat also. So if you do have a question, please put it in all caps. Preface the question by writing question in all caps. I'll keep an eye out for questions. This was beautiful, Jenna. Thank you so much. There's a lot to lift up, I think, from the practice today. One of the questions that arose for me was kind of answered by that Alan Liu quote. And oh, there it is. You put it in there. Thank you so much. So one of the questions that comes up, I think, when we're talking about cultivating joy is the issue of spiritual bypass, and you kind of address that, right? Spiritual bypass, at least the way I understand it, is, skirting around and avoiding that which we experience as unpleasant, challenging emotions, pain, difficult things, etc. So I think it's worth repeating this framing of what joy means, because it's not, the colloquial use of joy, which is, like you said, the party, everything's great, I'm so happy, right? It's a different kind of thing. So how do we have joy without spiritual bypass is the question, without bypassing what is really happening in our lives and our world, for that matter.
Yeah, beautiful question. I learned once from my teacher, Yiska Smith. I think she's taught here a few times.
Yeah, she's a regular.
Yeah, that there's the word simcha for joy, which is more externally motivated by like a party, a bar mitzvah, Purim, like let's get up and dance. And it's while there are definitely times for simcha type of joy, a deeper form of joy in Hebrew is osher, which is like an inner peace and a longer lasting joy that comes from having purpose. And I think when you have that, even when you're in grief, suffering, or something awful has happened in life, you're not jumping and clapping, but you're with that moment and you have purpose of just being alive and being moving forward with some sort of inner peace that what's happening to me is for my best good and for the good of the world. And it's a teaching moment. And I think with Osher, it doesn't look like joy from the outside. You could be crying, you could be in therapy, you could be whatever, going through whatever, but it is just the joy of being alive.
Yeah, that's great. So that's the Osher, that's the joy of Ashrei, the Psalm and the prayer that we use and use it throughout the day, actually, Jewishly. Ashrei Yoshe Beitecha, happy are those who dwell in the house. And that's what, so I really appreciate that distinction. And then you brought it into the body. I love that phrase, smiling energy that you used. That was great. Which of course brought up another question for me as I was doing it, because I was thinking about, okay, for those of us for whom, examining our body from the inside out may be challenging because our bodies are not what they used to be, or we're dealing with illness, or we're dealing with, any number of physical challenges. How am I supposed to experience joy in kind of moving through the body? So it's a variation on that first question, really, like, how would you suggest doing that?
Yeah, well, I was inspired by Pirkei Avot that says to greet every person with a smiling countenance. But we also have to greet ourselves with a smiling countenance. And maybe someone in a hard time for you is not smiling at you, or you are alone in your process and there isn't that person that's looking at you, smiling at you and holding you, but we have that ability to smile within and comfort ourselves, and talk to like the different parts of our bodies that need to feel safe with us, and we need to acknowledge them and they need to know that you're not alone, heart. I'm listening to you. I'm sending you compassion and love, and I'm here with you. And I think when we do that, no one else's smile makes a difference, because if we can do it for ourselves, um, that's what our body responds to the most deepest.
Right, right. So just to go back to what your first point, so that it's doesn't mean that we're happy about the condition of our body. Like maybe I need a knee replacement or a hip replacement, or my shoulder's killing me or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you're bringing a particular energy and attitude and perspective or stance, I guess, maybe towards that challenge, to that difficulty.
Even more so, if your heart is broken, that's when you need to send smiling energy and say, heart, I'm with you. I'm smiling at you. I'm sending you love. When your heart's flying and happy, like, you don't need to do that. And same with if you have experienced something in your body broken or dysfunctioning, it needs to know that we're loving you anyways in your imperfection.
Yeah. What do you think about, there's a question from Lori, always good questions. What, who, like Lori wrote, I love how you encourage us to send smiley, friendly, grateful energy to our brains, so the sometimes quarreling two hemispheres. What are some prompts we might use to do this very thing throughout the day? Which is a great question. We always like to kind of raise that question of how to bring the practice into the rest of the day when we're not, just quote, just sitting.
Yeah. I think the answer lies in, we have two adars, so we can slow down. And the two hemispheres, can we create a space between them so that we're going at a slower pace, and actually having space for joy between our thoughts. The spaciousness is what I'm thinking. And so prompts to do that is, this is a joyous moment. Just
Mhm.
reminding our brain, oh yeah, this is a joyous moment. I'm doing dishes, I'm running. Okay, this is a joyous moment. Or, working, drinking tea, pause. This is a joyous moment.
Yeah. Nancy also raised the question about, like, for those of us whose bodies may not work in the way that they used to, or the way you were even maybe describing during the meditation. And I think you kind of answered this about how to bring basically, chesed, about compassionate energy, a compassionate approach to befriend that which is challenging for us or not available to us in the moment. But it did raise a question for me. I first learned in meditation from Sylvia Boorstein, as she always would invite, turn the corners of the mouth upward, right? Like basically to smile, which reminded me when I was a kid, when I was feeling, if I felt sad or down, I kind of pushed myself to smile. It was kind of a natural behavioristic response to, if I smile, then the happiness will follow, or the sadness will dissipate in some way. Um, so I guess we're still staying in the same theme here of how to cultivate joy in a way that doesn't force it, right? Like smiling when you want to cry, right? Or when you're sad. Um, Smiling could feel like a betrayal of what you're actually feeling, right? Or denial of challenging and difficult feelings. And I'm wondering about, so I'm just expressing some ambivalence about that, because on the one hand, this idea of bringing smile, meet everything with a smile is a beautiful idea, but it calls up like a little bit of fear. But what about honoring the pain? What about honoring the heartbreak? So I'm just going to throw one more piece in, and I want to hear what you have to say about this, which is, I appreciated that you mentioned it, joy in connection with dying and death also, right? About mortality, because I think about funerals or shivas where there's a lot of laughter, right? And I don't mean frivolous laughter, but laughter in the midst of the grief, right? That there's something joyful actually in a funeral, when it's well done. There's something joyful in a shiva when it's well done, which to me gives me the experience of, oh, I can see where there can be joy at the same time that there's deep sadness and pain and loss. And I wonder if, if you want to comment on that, if others maybe relate to that as well. Where it's not a betrayal, like, why am I laughing? I should be sad. Or, there's no betrayal there. It's part and parcel of having all the feelings at the same time.
Mm. I love all these points that you're making, and I think it comes down to following the pathway of our body and trusting that beneath it, it will lead to joy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you're saying at a funeral, if you're able to really be in your grief, you'll notice there's waves of grief, and your body will take you through that wave and crash you down. And if you try to block it, you won't get to the joy. If you're with it, then um, beneath that pain, there'll come a softening, and then there'll come a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of light, something you notice that's joyful, or maybe just energy that arises in you, which could feel like tremendous joy
Mm-hmm.
after such a hard period. Um, so I think about Rabbi Nachman's teaching, like if you want to be joyful, like get up and clap. And I think there is a time for that. You can't sit and grieve forever. You have to let your body at your timeline get to the place where you can emerge again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the grief slows us down, and then it helps us emerge and open, and then we're available for joy. And back to the question about your legs, someone said in the comment, not working well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our physical legs, but we also have the spiritual aspect of the legs, which are Netzach and Hod in the Sphirot, in the divine energies. And even if you can't physically walk, but what Netzach represents is moving forward and propelling and continuing and having endurance and victory, um and you can have that with or without your physical strength of your legs, but we still have that spiritual strength always to march forward, whether we're doing it literally or marching forward with our spirit.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And to add, just to keep going with that, right? And with Hod, which is the other leg there, we have the capacity to have gratitude and to be, accepting, and to receive things just as they are. So I really appreciate that. If I could tack on one more thing, because body scans, are beautiful. It was a beautiful body scan meditation. Sometimes for people, body scans can be challenging. For anyone who might have been, particularly challenging, because it just can trigger a trauma response, something that happens. Just a reminder to people that if you find yourself being dysregulated in some way or out of your window of, regulation, that it's always an option. Of course, all the teaching here is just suggestions. You can orient yourself to what's happening in the room. You can listen to the sounds. You can just, feel the floor under your feet, as Jenna invited us at the end to do that. So just a reminder about that. Jenna, well, we're at time. Just want to close by saying, I thought this is a perfect full moon meditation today with your theme, because the moon, of course, we think about the moon as shining, but actually it's reflecting the light of the sun, right? This is the full reflection of a dark surface. And so it kind of integrates the bitter and the sweet, the pain and the joy all in one in a very full way. And I want to thank you for lifting up that light for all of us today. And may it be long lasting for you and for everyone here.
Thank you. I also, back to what you were saying, the reason we have this extra month is because of the merge of the lunar and solar, in order
Mm-hmm.
for our Hebrew calendar to both align at the proper seasons and be able to mark the months. It's a merging of the lunar and solar. And in terms of joy, I just think about that as the revealed joy. That's like the sun, that's like obvious and just externally out there. And then the lunar joy, which is more reflective and sometimes more hidden and mysterious. and in flux. And we're kind of honoring both of those joys in our system.
Thanks you for that and for all of this. And I put a link again in the chat for those who wants to check out At the Well and the Revisiting. And they just have so many wonderful resources, both on the website and also if you're on social media. I encourage you to follow Jenna and follow At the Well. And we're just so grateful for this collaboration with you guys. So thank you so much, Jenna.
Thank you
And
for
yeah, and want to wish everyone, of course, Shabbat Shalom. We hope to see you back on Monday. Have a sweet